Working from home can be an invitation to everyone to come into your office or to ring your doorbell and interrupt you. So it never fails, right? As soon as you get to work, somebody comes in. Your kids come in, your partner comes in, the doorbell rings, the gardener shows up, the Amazon drops off stuff, or some guy just trying to sell, solar panels shows up. So continuously, it's an invitation for interruptions. So what we have to do as writers is set boundaries around ourselves, our office, our workspace, and not let all these other interruptions stop us from getting our work done. You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world. Welcome to the Julia Monte channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Monte. I'm a women's fiction author and here to help you write better, and today talk about how to set boundaries so you could write more and without interruptions. So the first thing we want to remember is that work means work. So when you're at home, even if writing isn't your day job, but if it isn't the job that pays your bills, but it's the job that you want to do, right? You want to write. So when you are writing, it's work time. It's the same as if you were going to a job to do your work. So what you need to do as a writer is treat it that way. Work means work. So one of the first things that happened to me is when I stayed home to take care of my baby son. And it was about the same time. So at the same time that I became a mom, I also actually got my first contract on my novel. So I decided, well, this is a perfect opportunity. I want to stay home and be with my son. I want to take care of him. And I also want to start this writing career, right? So I'd been writing up until that point, but I hadn't actually had a contract, right? I didn't have a deadline, and I wasn't working with a publisher, but right about this time, I had both. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to stay home and I'm going to write. And so I was teaching at the time. I was teaching elementary school, and I took a leave of absence, and then finally I quit, right, so that I could stay home. And as soon as that happened, I had a friend say, well, perfect, you're going to be home. Can I have you watch my son, my baby? And, the nice person in me wanted to say yes, because I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be a good friend. But then thankfully, I took a step back and I said, well, wait a minute, because having one baby is a lot of work. Right? So just trying to take care of one little kid is going to be a lot of work. Trying to take care of two little kids is going to be much, much more difficult. And my goal was to, when my son took a nap or when he was playing in his playpen, then I could use that time to write, right? So I would be working. So when I wasn't with him, I would work. And when I thought about it, I thought, there's no way that both of these babies are going to have their take naps at the same time, or that, when one's doing something, one's going to be doing something different. And so I had to make the decision to say no. And that's hard to do, but we have to get good at doing that, because again, we need those boundaries. Not only do you have to have the boundaries of your office, right, where people aren't just barging into your office, but you have to set boundaries around your job and protect your writing. And so I had to explain that, I'm not staying home just to be a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I am, because I have my baby, but I'm also staying home to write and to work. And this is going to be my job now. And that means I have to be able to work. I have to be able to write this book that I signed a contract saying I would deliver. And I can't do that if I'm watching somebody else's child as well. This is my work. She took it pretty well. I mean, she was kind of like a little annoyed, I think, or, maybe just hopeful that she would have a babysitter. But, I wasn't going to be a babysitter. I wasn't, and she wasn't like saying, I can hire you either. It was like, can you just do me this favor? And I thought, well, I could if it was one day, but once you do something, people expect you to continue to do it. And again, it's just really on you as a writer to protect that space, protect that writing time, and however you need to do it. So That's my first tip is to make sure that work means work. If you were at a job, right? If you had to go to work, if I was teaching at school, somebody couldn't just drop off their child because I'd be working. And so it has to be the same for the writing time. And it doesn't matter, again, if this is your second job, if you work all day, you work an 8 to 10 hour day, and then you come home and you have an hour or you have 2 hours to write, that is still your work time. It's a second job. It's not just I'm at home doing nothing and I'm just going to happen to write if nobody else needs me for anything else, which tends to happen if we're not very strict about our time, and if we don't set it and write it in our calendar and say, no, not only am I working here for 8 hours and then coming home, then I'm working another hour on my job. Okay, so set those boundaries and be really strict about that time. Don't let anybody else. And in fact, if the gardener does show up and ring the doorbell, or if somebody does come to sell you solar panels, what are you going to do? I'll tell you what I do. I don't answer the door, because if I was at work, I wouldn't be here to answer the door, right? Unless I'm taking a break. If I'm taking a break, or I've been working for 2 or 3 hours and I want to run down the stairs and open the door and tell the guy I don't want solar panels, or thank the Amazon driver for dropping something off. If I want to, I do that. But again, that's only if I wanted to take a break. Okay, it's not just, okay, here's somebody that showed up. Let me just, I've been writing for 10 minutes. Let me just run downstairs and do that. No, because during that 1 hour, during the 2 hours, whatever time you give yourself, it is your work time. Okay, so don't answer the door. Don't answer your phone. Don't check your email. Don't do anything except write during that time. Okay, so my second tip is that you should set office hours. Okay, so yes, if I work 8 hours and then I come home and I decide I'm going to work another 2 hours on my writing, then I need to put that in there. Those are my office hours. Or if you get to write full time, then perfect. What are your hours? Are you working from 8 in the morning to noon? Are you working from 8 to 3? Are you working in the afternoon? Are you working in the evening? So it's helpful to have the same time all the time. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Mostly it's because it does set your mind, your brain gets used to it. You're like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write now. This is my writing time. Okay, so your brain gets used to that. So that's one reason. But the other reason is that it's fair to everybody else. It's fair to your family, because then your family learns that this is your work time. These are your office hours. Okay. One time my mom said to me, and my mom is very sweet and very kind, and so she's she wants to respect my writing time, because she understands at the beginning she didn't. I had to kind of help her to understand too that this is my writing time. I'm not just sitting home here doing nothing. But now this was years ago. Now she totally understands, right? And she's very kind. And so one time she said something like, well, I don't want to bother you, and I never know what you're doing or when you're busy. And I felt bad. I was like, you know what? She's right. It's because she's like, I'm always working. So I have to say, okay, this is the time. This, on Saturday, this is when I'm going to be writing. Or I tell my family, right, my kids, or this is when I'm working. So they understand that this is the writing time. This is the time when I'm going to be doing this. And so that way, when I'm not doing this, when I'm not writing, they're free to call. They're free to interrupt. And they're not feeling like they're bothering me, or that they're going to, interrupt my writing time. So it's fair to you as a writer, and it's also fair to your family members also, because that way they know, okay, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., mom's going to be writing, dad's going to be writing. And so during that time, I can't bother them. So I'm going to wait until 8 o'clock, or I'm going to wait until 8:30 when I know that I can go ask something that I need to ask my parents or my husband or whatever, right? So they know that I won't bother them during this time, but as soon as this time is over, I'm free to go into the office. I'm free to ask them a question, because they know that office hours are done. You're done working, and now they can come and not interrupt you, right? Okay, the next thing is to guard your energy. Okay, so there are a lot of things that'll drain your energy during the day. A lot. Like social media is one of the huge ones. It's a necessary evil. I do have to be on social media, and you do as well if you are building yourself as a writer, right? You want to be there because you want to interact with readers. You want to interact with other writers. That's part of the business. Okay, so you do want that. But it can also be an energy drainer if you start reading everything that's happening, if you start following, oh, what this person is doing, that person is doing, and this person's complaining about this, and then this is happening in the world, and people are upset about it. And by the time you're done, you're like exhausted. You've read through all this stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm just tired, right? So you don't want that to happen. So be careful on what's draining your energy. That may, that kind of drains my energy a little bit. So if I start noticing that, I'll pop back out of social media. I'll come back later. But there could be other things as well. As email can drain your energy and kill your time. There could be other things too. So whatever it is for you, you want to guard that. Guard your energy. Make sure that you are able to that you're able to do your work, that you're not too tired because of other things that you've been doing. So guard your energy as well. Okay, so just remember that setting those boundaries and respecting your own time, your own writing time, is good for your physical and your mental health. Okay, it helps you to get the work done that you need to get done, and it also respects your time, and it makes you feel better because you're getting the work done that you need to get done, and you're also kind of helping your family members and other people to respect your boundaries as well. Okay, writing is a lot of fun, but it is work, and so we need to remember that we are working to get a goal accomplished. We're trying to get this book finished, or or a short story finished, or poem finished, or whatever you're writing. And if you have constant interruptions, or you always allow writing to be kind of second or third or fourth, and it's not the top of your priority, then if it's not for you, it won't be for other people either. So you need to make it a priority. You need to have fun, but also remember that this is work and it is a job, and it needs to be treated that way. Okay, so if you remember all this, then it'll help you to feel better. You won't feel as tired. You won't feel frustrated. You won't feel resentment towards other people who are interrupting your writing time, and you'll be able to get your work done. You'll feel better. You'll feel mentally better. You'll feel physically better. So remember to set those boundaries. All right, I will see you again next Friday. If this was helpful to you, please hit that like button and hit the share button. And again, I will see you again next week. Thanks.